Today's lesson is The Squirrel. The poem, the first poem from your text. Okay, so this is a very small poem by Mildred Bowers Armstrong. Okay, and this is very easy and very small poem, so we will do it. Yeah, the exercises, the discussion of the question answers has already been done. You will see it will be uploaded in the YouTube channel within today, and you will check out the discussion portion of the question answers. Along with that, I will also provide you some answers in the e-portal. Some of the questions which are a bit lengthy, I will give you the answers of that. The rest of the answers you will check the YouTube channel and try to solve it on your own. Okay. Come to the poem, The Squirrel. He wore a question mark for tail and overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. So have you seen a squirrel? Have you ever seen a squirrel? A squirrel is a very familiar creature. It's like a rodent. It looks like a rodent. It lives in the trees. Okay, and they survive on a lot of different fruits, lot of different food habit. It has a different kind of food habit to the other animals who live in the tree, but mostly it likes to eat nut. If you observe a squirrel, you will see that if they take a seed or a nut, they try to crack it by holding them with two hands and then cracking it, trying to hit it hard against the ground or some wall, and then they would try to hit it, okay, try to get it open. So it's really amusing. If you see a squirrel, you will understand how amusing its movements are. The poet was so much impressed with the movement of the squirrel and the way the squirrel acted that she wrote a poem on a squirrel, a very small poem, but it talks about the squirrel. The first line of the poem says, he wore a question mark for tail. That means his tail was in the shape of a question mark. Okay, something like this. Something like a question mark. Okay. Then he sat an overcoat of grey. An overcoat of grey means his body was like an overcoat. It's a furry body. If you have seen a squirrel, you know that their body is full of fur. Okay, and it's a overcoat of grey, greyish color. Now English class is going on. Okay. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. He sat up straight to eat a nut. That means the squirrel sat up straight. For eating a nut, it sat up straight, and he liked to tease and play. He liked to tease around, make jokes and play. Okay. And if we ran round his tree, he went the other way. You will see that the squirrel are very easily scared. If you move around the tree of a squirrel, it will run away. Very fast it will run away. Okay, so their movement is also very funny, very nice and very quick. Okay. Let us come to the question answers of this poem. Why does the poet say the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail? Draw a squirrel or find a picture of a squirrel sitting on the ground. How would you describe its tail? So this answer, I expect that you will write it in your copy. You will draw a squirrel if possible. I think you will be able to draw a squirrel. If you have not seen a squirrel, try to see it. If you can't see it picture and then draw it. Okay, draw a squirrel. And the question is, why does the poet say the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail? The poet says that the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail because the shape of the squirrel's tail is like that of a question mark. Okay, and so the poet says that the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail. Okay. Now, the next part is, so you will simply draw a squirrel and you will write that the poet said that the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail because its tail is twisted, appearing like a question mark. The shape of the squirrel's tail is like a question mark. Okay. Next question is, do we usually say that an animal wears a tail? What do we say? So, do we usually say that an animal wears a tail? What do we say? Think. Does an animal wear a coat? Consult in dictionary if you like and find out how wear is used in different ways. This is something which is not important for exam. You can do it on your own but not necessary for the exam. So, it is nothing. Just have to say that we usually say that an animal has a tail, not wear a tail. But here the poet wants to write it, give a humorous tone to the poem, and for that the poet writes that the squirrel wears a tail. Okay. So, wear, dictionary meaning of wear is something of an outward covering, something which we put on for an outer covering. Okay. Okay. The next question is, he liked to tease and play. Who is teasing whom and how? He liked to tease and play means he is not talking about the squirrel. He is talking about the squirrel. The squirrel liked to tease and play. Okay. That is, he liked to make other people chase him and play with them. So, the characteristics of the squirrel is very playful. If anybody tried to play with it, it will run away in a different direction, it will tease that person, he will not be able to catch hold of the squirrel. So, the squirrel like to tease and play means that the squirrel is teasing the onlookers, the little children who used to play around the squirrel or around the tree where the squirrel lived. Yes, Tanujit. Okay. Now, any other question is left? No. So, this is a very small chapter. There is nothing much to discuss about it. From this chapter, no question answers we will do for the exam. You will simply read this chapter for your, for our amusement, okay, for our, like a poem. We will enjoy it like a poem, but we will not do the question answers from this chapter. Okay, students. So, today we are not going to do anything else. Do check the discussion of question answers of 3 questions. Next day we will begin a new chapter. Okay. Bye, students. Write your names in the chat box so I can give your attendance.